All right, mate. Let's do this.
The working title was Red Onion because of all the layers, which I'm sure Martha has expressed numerous times.
April, she's really interesting because there are so many layers to her.
I found Jay to be very reserved, committed. I feel like he lived in his own world.
The film was conceived as 2 volumes, and the reason for that is I wanted to try and experiment in this genre to get involved with the characters and go through an emotional journey with them. I knew that I couldn't do it if the short was too short. Not that that's impossible. I've seen some shorts, 5 minutes and under, that pack an emotional punch, but this particular story, I would really need time to build things up. And I didn't want to do a feature either. So I decided to make a short that was longer, but split it in half. And use the separation. The time between watching episodes, you're still an active participant. You're still an active audience member. You know, you're thinking about the characters, you're thinking about what's going to happen next, you're reflecting on what just happened. The story isn't over, so you're still engaged, you're still thinking about it, you're still involved. I don't know if it worked or not, but I'm trying to use that time to my advantage and add to the overall experience so that it's more than just watching 2 short films.
Yeah, so it's a very, very layered film. But my favorite day was probably the first day when we were shooting at the airport.
And action. April's probably one of the most fun characters I've ever had to write. I try to write every script differently, I try to write every character differently, and with April I really, as Jay says in the film, I didn't have to give much thought to what she did or said. I had an idea of who she was, and the fleshing out of her character would happen in the writing process. All her dialogue, it's like I'm not even writing it. My fingers go, and whatever intuitively I feel she would say, she would just say. So it really was like she was writing herself, and it really is a character that I feel like I can't decide for her what she is. I'm just a conduit. It really did feel that way. I actually don't know how much of Martha is actually April or how similar they really are. It seemed very natural. Martha is very energetic. Martha has a bit of sass, I think. Or maybe it's just towards me.
Thank you.
What button did you hit?
Just the dishes in.
Oh,
Stop flipping us off. All right.
So I think I share a lot in common with April, actually. I think she's quite bold and she speaks her mind. I am like that a lot of the time, but I also sometimes wish I was even more like that. She's kind of goofy and clumsy, and I am very, very much so both of those things. She's got a really good heart. That's something that I admire about April. I just loved how fun April was and how the character was layered and nuanced, and there were so many parts to her. I keep using the word layered, but it really is.
The character of Jay, I had less of a clear idea of what I was looking for. Again, the auditioning process was long and hard. Yeah.
When I first read it, obviously, it was just what drew me to it was the writing. That's the first and foremost. But when I first read them, I was like, this is something that that's not who I am in real life. And, you know, I thought it would be very cool if I could play something that I'm not, you know, from a different, because, you know, sometimes you get typecasted, and, you know, it's cool to play things that, okay, you're familiar with, but to play something that you're not really familiar with was a challenge that I wanted to accept. So I think that's really what drew me to specifically Jay's character.
You see that? See that? He's trying to direct my fucking movie.
He's trying to take over a movie.
I like the scene where April is just hovering around me when I'm in the computer, and I'm kind of not paying attention to her. But the reason I really like that scene is because it was one shot, and I think it just really flowed. The conversation really flowed well between us. You'll think of something. You always do.
Well, more like you'll always think of something.
Right.
And cut.
Let's do that again.
Cut.
Fuck!
And cut. That was the best one.
Great.
Another scene that I really liked, I think, man, this is tough. Sorry, I'm just getting kind of emotional right now. The scene that I had with Caitlin, I thought she was just a great actor. I fed off her energy. And I think, to me, being able to work with Alex and, just being my first short film, my acting debut, he just made everything so easy. So, it was a combination of that, him making everything so easy and having a great actor to kind of bounce off of. Yeah, that was fun.
So in the script, it was supposed to be typical cafe, small, brightly lit, few customers, and, you could picture it pretty clearly. The place I ended up with, I chose based on two things. Number one, price. It was the cheapest place I could find. And number two, it was the least like a coffee shop, and I kind of like that. It's actually inside a church, and it's a small cafe they built in. It was unusual, and I liked that, so I decided to have the scene with Caitlin take place in a place that you can't quite fully figure out or understand where they are or what the place is.
Go south.
I really liked the day we filmed the party. I don't know, it was just a really great group environment. We had a lot of laughs behind the scenes.
Look at me, I'm a shithead. Never got a shithead celebrating.
Sorry.
It is really hard to see. I feel like I'm watching Halloween, when they put
She
the
really
Michael Myers
genuinely
on.
found that funny too.
Poop joke. You're not laughing at a poop joke.
H2O. Says the guy that wasn't getting any fruit.
These people are having the most fun of anyone ever.
Oh yeah, Jesus.
Fuck yeah.
Talking cheese and dancing. Got my groove on.
So soft.
I just
It's so spicy.
It just feels bad.
Hey!
You're still here.
Oh no.
Oh, money.
oh my god, Jesus.
This is a party.
This happens like at least twice a year.
This happens at parties. Oh, no, you don't. Excuse me. Sorry.
What just happened?
Oh, no, you don't. Excuse me.
I looked right at the camera.
I'm not going to talk about what the ending means. I've been asked the same questions over and over again. Who is the real writer? What happened at the end? What is real? What isn't? I mean, these are all questions I'm glad people are asking because these are the questions that you should be asking.
Especially in this social media age, everything's so easily accessed at our fingertips that I feel like we live in this world that's a little bit out of touch with reality. So I think that this film kind of comments on that a little bit. I think that a lot of us kind of get stuck in that mindset, that fantasy world a little bit. So it's quite interesting if you think about it from that perspective. There are so many layers, you're not really sure what's real.
Program and control. That's my take. Programming can show you. Reality is. It's all about perspective. I think that's really what it's all about. You know.
That this was love at first sight.
Cut. Cut.
We heard the sirens wailing.